Welcome to Property Auction Hunters. And if you're joining us for the first time, by way of quick introduction, my name is Jay Howard. I have been in property since 2002. At that time, I was working for a family trust managing £3.3 billion worth of property. And my business partner over here is Piotr Ryzynek. He was a buying agent in London for many years. And since that time, fell straight into auctions and hasn't managed to pull himself out yet. He absolutely loves it. We love doing deals, and because we love doing deals, we have Mr. Dealmaker himself, Mr. Northwest, Oliver Adams. By way of introduction, I've known Oliver for a couple of years. When I worked for Auction House London, Oliver also worked within the Auction House group of franchises, Auction House Northwest. And outside of Auction House London and maybe East Anglia, probably being a little bit kind there perhaps, Northwest was probably one of the biggest auctioneers in the area. So what we're going to go through today is going to be really very special. We're going to ask Oliver what made Auction House Northwest so popular, so big, so epic in the way that it was run. Spoiler alert, it was all Oliver. And we're going to talk about why Oliver is now one of the primo auction traders in the country. And there's going to be a whole discourse between why he moved from this to the other, and the difficulties, challenges, and the opportunities he sees in the market. So, Oliver, welcome.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for the invite today. It's good to catch up with some old chums, shall we say, Jay. So, Auction House Northwest originally, when I first started working there, was a very small regional auction. Probably ran 20-25 lots typically a month. We did 4 auctions a year, so we were a very small regional auctioneer when I started working there. Cut a long story short, within 10 years I'd grown that to 12 auctions a year, so we did an auction every month, and we were typically selling between 90 and 100 lots per month. So 1,000 to 1,200 lots a year, having grown from doing 4 auctions a year. So there was no real secret, no magic formula to it other than bloody hard work. Nose to the ground, door always open for business, whether that was before 9 o'clock, after 7, 8 o'clock at night, weekends. It was 7 days a week job. If you had an inquiry that came in, you dealt with it there and then, typically within an hour to 2 hours. Whole purpose, whole sole function was to get that client signed up for auction, get them booked into auction, and get that property sold. And you know, people talk about lifestyle, quality of employment. There was none of that. I was commission based. I was hungry, focused. And fortunately for me, that was noticed after a period of time by some of the big clients in the marketplace that were selling volumes of property. So, you know, you might do 4 or 5 valuations to get one instruction from private sellers, someone who's inherited a house, a landlord selling an odd property. And you know, it's good business, and the fees were always good with those types of properties, but you want repeat business and you want volume of business running an auction. And the cash cow, if you like, is to get into the corporate markets, dealing with asset managers, receivers, banks, charities, some of the big PLC property firms that might offload a portfolio that's no longer performing for them. But the big one, and the one that really got me into where I am now, was selling properties for traders. There were a small number of people out there, very cloak and dagger, kept themselves out of social media, out of the limelight, and they were buy house, fast for cash operators or below market value buying companies, and they were exciting to me. It was exciting business. It was impressive to see someone buying a property and then selling it at auction, and they would make the profit they would make in that one deal was the equivalent of 6 months of my wages. And I wanted a slice of that pie. I wanted a slice of that action. But to fully understand that business model and how it worked, I had to work with these guys as their auctioneer. Eventually, trust grows. They start coming to you then to ask for your opinion on properties before they buy them, before they've offered on them. So my mindset then started thinking as a trader, even though I wasn't buying them myself, I was only selling for them. But it gets it, your mindset alters, and you look at the psychology of the seller. Take a different hat off, take your auction hat off. I would look at the property. What can I get for it at auction? Give them that figure with confidence that we would deliver that price. They would then offer accordingly, buy that property. So that was effectively the introduction into the trading environment, trading world, having run an auction, selling a huge number of properties for over 10 years for trader clients. And it was an eye-opener, really. And the reason I left, and the only reason I left, was COVID. COVID became the determining factor for me. I love dealing with people. I was a face-to-face guy. I would always go out and do the valuations face-to-face. I would meet the sellers. A lot of people in the auction industry want to get up on the rostrum. They want that vanity, if you like, and that kudos of being the auctioneer. I didn't. I wanted to be on the shop floor. I wanted to do deals. I wanted to trade. I wanted to get new instructions. I wanted to sell stock that hadn't sold at auction on the day. COVID came, shut down the auction market in the football stadiums where we held the auctions. We could no longer have public face-to-face auctions. Everything went online. And yes, it's more efficient. Yes, it's better as a buyer and better as a seller. But my God, it was boring. Too boring. So that was the only excuse I needed to get out. And I got out, I left, and I only had one dream: to be a trader. And
wow.
What courage eventually.
What was it like to make that shift? Because it's a massive shift to be in the position, even if you see things, even if you know how things work, to then put yourself in the position of a trader. It's a massive shift in everything, like the risk you're taking, the responsibility you're taking. Like if things go wrong, it's not only that you don't make a commission that you would on a sale, but it's actually you probably make losses. Like what was it like? How did you manage that shift in the mindset?
There was no planning, PR, and I think that's the only way. It's the only way I managed to do it, because there wasn't a plan that could go wrong. I'd made the decision to exit being an employee. I've been an employee all my life. Getting a monthly salary and a certain amount of commission every month was very comfortable. It gets you in a very comfortable position. So I finished in December 2020, after having worked in the auction industry for 23 years in total. And for the first time in my life, January 2021, I was unemployed. I had no job. Didn't have a business plan. I really hadn't thought it through in that way. I just knew I had to get out and had to do something different. Sold some couple of ISAs that we had. Took a little bit of money out of the house. That gave me my initial trading pot. Bought my first property, 1-bed mid-terrace bungalow with subsidence and Japanese knotweed in January. Beautiful. And I thought, if I can't add any value to that and trade it at auction and make a profit, then I've made a big mistake. So I just dived in, feet first, balls deep, pardon the pun, but there was the only way of doing it. And thought, if I can't make that work, if I can't practice what I've been preaching to other people for all those years, then I'll stack shelves in Tesco's. So you just do it. You just got to do it. I did it. Bought that first one. Fortunately for me, it made a £5,000 profit. That property. I turned £5,000 net after costs before tax on that first trade, and that was a month's wages for me. And I thought, if I can do 12 of those a year to replace my salary, it supports the mortgage, the wife, the 2 kids, the 2 cars, happy days. I'll have a far better quality of life. I'll have spare time. I'll be able to go on holiday. I'll have lifestyle. No, none of that worked. None of it. The lifestyle went out the window. The free time went out the window. I didn't think I could work any more hours coming out of the auction industry. It was 7 days a week for me. And people always said, self-employed, you work harder, you push yourself harder, you drive yourself harder. I just thought, no, you're talking rubbish. Well, they weren't. They were true. They were very right. I bought 47 properties, bought and completed 47 properties that first year, and sold those 47 in the same year. Never worked so hard in my life, but it worked. I made a few quid, and I thought, I can do this again. So here we are, carried on going. So there wasn't really a plan. I'd love to say there was this detailed super analysis, spreadsheets and Excel spreadsheets and numbers and crunch this and crunch that. And I spoke to a bank manager. I haven't even got a bank manager. Never even seen one. It was just do it. Just get out.
Moment of truth. Did you have hair before you started trading?
The last time I had hair, I was at university. And I was 21 years old, and I'm not 21 anymore.
So it's not stressful at all, right?
No, definitely it's not. It's a different kind of stress.
Yeah,
it is a very, very different kind of stress. It's the kind of stress that when you come out of it on the other end, you actually realize that you enjoy it. You like the pain. The pain is good, and the stress is good. It's actually a good stress. When you realize you're doing it for yourself, you're not doing it for someone else.
Yeah.
Okay, I've got some questions. I've got big questions. And it's a good point to kind of like jump in. We've been on this for about just over 10 minutes. But it's also good for, I think we have about 50 people watching live, which is excellent. So for you 50 people, thank you very much for joining us, whether you're on YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, wherever it is. If you have a question for Oliver, make sure you put it into the chat, because before we let Oliver escape and have his tea for this evening, we're going to try and bash his brains in for some real nuggets of information. But just wanted to kind of see if we could pull out a little bit more information on some of the things that you've said, Oliver. And one of the things I think that you have said that I really liked. So one is a question and one's an observation. So the question first is, how much do you think, how long do you think you can do this for? Because what most people don't know is that you as a property trader, you're quite unique, right? There's no big team. It's Oliver Adams doing 10, 15, 20 properties a month, right? That's the kind of general volume we're talking about. So like you're going pound per lever here. How long is this? Or have you got like plans of kind of scaling out and getting a runner or two and doing things like that?
So it's a really good question. That when running the auction, there was a team of 9 of us in that auction, and it was a very tight-knit team. Some of the staff that worked in that team have been with me for over 10 years. Two of them have been there for nearly 15 years. So we were a really tight-knit team. Everybody knew what to do. There was no panic. It was a solid position to be in. But that doesn't mean to say that you still had those people booking appointments in at 1, 2, 3 o'clock on a Friday afternoon. And they were very difficult to get hold of for the rest of that day. And then, the dog passed away over the weekend, or their auntie had died for the 4th time on Monday morning, and they wouldn't be in for a few days. And that, I never really got my head around that. And I know the world that we live in now, people are supposed to be more compassionate about their colleagues, and they're supposed to have a personal life and time for life events, marriage, kids, holiday, whatever. I'm not into any of that. I never was, and I never am, and I'm not now. So the thought of having staff, employees, assistants, runners, as you call them, any responsibility other than for myself, puts the fear of dread into me, because I'm pretty sure that the first time they did something wrong or didn't perform to my expectation or let me down or didn't show up, I'd end up in prison for some punishing event that would probably follow. It's just not me. So
yeah,
it's by far the best way of doing things. I know a lot of people use VAs now. I don't have a VA. I've got no admin. I've got no assistance whatsoever. I do every single element of every trade and all the administration, including sorting out the council tax, gas, water, electric. I do all of my own accounts, all my own books. I go to each property on its. This could be a story on its own. I go to each property that I've bought. Very rarely see them before I bought them. So get completion, get keys. I'll go there. I'll clean them. I'll clear them. I'll do the gardens. I'll scrub the toilets. I'll bleach. I'll air freshen. I'll do all my own videos. Do all my own photographs. I trained as I can do EPCs, although I don't do that because the time it takes to do an EPC that is pointless. You get an EPC done for 45 quid. So I do everything myself. I can't work and couldn't work and don't want to work with anyone else. And I know it sounds maybe selfish, maybe arrogant, certainly stupid. But that's just...
It's probably, I think for most people, Ollie, it's there's probably an element of madness in it, right? And
yeah.
I think the observation I was going to make after you answered this question was, I think you've taken the same like dedication, like motivation, hunger, drive, whatever noun you want to throw in there, and you basically
100%.
said to yourself, these are my strengths, right?
Yeah.
This is, no one can outwork Oliver Adams, is what you said to yourself. You're like, if I'm going to do this, it's balls to the wall. I'm going to make it work. And I think I said to somebody years ago, and since I've said it to them, I keep repeating it. I've definitely not invented this, but I basically said, if this is what you want to do, you need to find out what makes you different. What is the one strength that you have that no one else can outdo you on? And then it's that one driver, that one key thing that you build it all around, because it distinguishes you, right? One of the things that we talk about is no two traders do the same job the same way, in the same way that no two auctioneers do it the same way. You register to bid on a lot in Allsops, in Stratton's, in Savills, in Auction House London. You'll be doing it in 3 different ways with 3 different experiences and 3 different journeys, right? But this is it. Like, I don't know, again, I don't know how much people know, but this is one of the things I've always thought, Jesus, bloody, whatever, how does he do it? Right? Because, you know, I don't think I was exaggerating. You know, you had a couple of months where you've done 15, 20 deals a month, right? And that's 15, 20 purchases, 15, 20 utilities that you've called, everything.
I've got August is a quiet month. It's not as quiet as it used to be before. Obviously, before COVID, all auctioneers went on holiday. That was typically the month. There were no auctions. It shut down. Since everything went online, business has carried on. So there's no real discernible difference in August now. But I sell less in August and use August to buy more stock, because there are buyers that go on holiday and stop buying. So I bought a lot in August. And didn't sell that same volume in August. So I've got a lot of stock going through auctions this month in September. I've got 21 going to auction in September in different auctions. And I'm just starting to put lots together now for the October auctions. But last year, as an example, I bought a house every 3.1 days last year throughout the year. I think that's what it works out at. Someone who's good at maths will work it out. I bought, purchased, completed on 152 properties last year in 2023. I think it's one every 3 days, something like that.
I think it's one like 2.7 days or something.
Let's get the calculator out. Let's not guess when we can know.
I'm not driven by How many days in a year are the PR?
365.
2.4 days. One house every 2.4 days last year. And when you look back at that, when you think about that number now, I think that's impossible. How can you do that? It doesn't. It is impossible. But when I look at the completion statements, you think, well, I've bought 3 this week, and that's all you've got to do. All you've got to do is buy 3 a week.
Yeah.
It's not that difficult. I mean, it's not that difficult. I don't know. Where do you stop? If I get offered an opportunity and I can see a profit, I'll buy it. It doesn't matter whether I've bought 1 this week or 5 this week or 10 this week. I might not buy 3 every week. I might buy one this week. I might buy 5 next week or 6 next week.
So I'm like really curious about the practicalities of this situation, because let's focus on that week, right? So you buy 3 a week. So you bought 1 already. You have to call the council tax people. You have to call electric people, everyone. And then how do you take calls from the new people who are going to sell you the second property? And then also, when you clear up your property, do you also have a phone next to your ear, like taped, so that you can answer the calls? Because that's the kind of part that what's happened in between the buying is because you do everything yourself. And like that's the part that just makes me wow.
So most people that know me, and there'll be a lot of people. If there'll be a lot of people out there today that will be thinking I'm an arrogant sod because I haven't got back to them. So in the evening time, so typically from sort of like 7 o'clock till 10 o'clock in the evening is the time when I get back to those people, PR. So during the daytime, when businesses are open, auctioneers are open, estate agents are open, the solicitors are open, the councils are open, whatever. Between 9 and 5, I am flat out. I'll price as much stock as I can and get as many offers out as I can. But actually dealing with people, that comes later. That has got to be the 6 till 10 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
I will spend 1 to 2 hours every day, most days, when I'm at home, in the hot tub at home, on my phone. And I'm WhatsApping people, texting people, Facebook, Insta, whatever. That's when I do a lot of the catching up, when most normal people will be feet up in front of the telly or taking the kids to football or might go down the pub or whatever. That is when I do my catching up. It is in the evening time. That said, that won't happen today because of stuff like this. And a lot of people have tried calling me today. I know that I've had 40, 50 missed calls today. And I've maybe spoken to 3 people. One of those was my missus, because I daren't not answer that phone when she calls. So it's difficult, and I know for a fact that I miss deals. I'll give you an example. There's a guy. I was up north last week. I was all over Scotland last week. A guy messaged me last week with 2 properties, 2 flats. I hope he's watching, because this is a kind of apology to him, and I won't apologise to him. So if he is watching, this is the non-apology. He messaged me 3 times last week. Come back to me with a bid. Come back to me with a bid. Come back to me with a bid. 10 minutes before we started on this call today, a Facebook post came up, and it was this chap, and he's posted these 2 deals on Facebook to everyone. I had a week to go back to him, and I didn't. Something else came up. I forgot. He reminded me. Something else came up. It is not perfect what I do. It's far from perfect. It's not ideal. Stuff gets missed. I make mistakes. Mistakes cost money. They cost time and money. I've got no one to fall back on. It's a real tough life that I live. It's not recommended. I love it. I wouldn't have it any other way. For one person to do to do what I do on my own, all I have to look at, and this is a sad reflection of my mental state and my priorities, but all I look at is the bank balance at the end of every month. And I go, yeah, that was worth it. And that is my biggest motivator. I just love making money.
Yeah, I think what really
love the profit comes from trading, because trading, and a lot of people, you've got to come across the opportunities to trade. Same as anything, whether you're doing flips, BRRs, renovations, HMOs, whatever you're doing, you have to have the opportunities. Those deals have to be there. I have a problem with relationships with properties. I don't want to hold anything for months and months and months. I'm not into, I know people, capital appreciation, refinance, buy something for 50 grand, sell it for 70 grand, and you've got 20 grand in the bank. You've got no risk now. You've got no management. You've got no risk. You get clobbered for tax. You're on your 25% corporation tax. Nothing you can do about that. Pay the tax. That money's yours. I can then concentrate on the next deal. But going back to that, the question, Jay, that you asked before about what is my exit, or when do I stop? When it is enough. All I wanted to do was replace the 60 to 75 grand a year annual salary. That was all I wanted to do initially, and I did that. Then I thought, right, okay, what do I want now? Wouldn't it be good to earn 100 grand in a year? That. So I think I'd hit that within a couple of months in the first year, and then I thought, wonder what it's like to actually have £1 million in the bank. I'd never had more than 20 grand ever in the bank in my entire life. What would it be like to have £1 million in the bank? I'm going to stop money at $1 million. And $1 million was there. No, I want 2 now. And then 2 was there. Oh, I want 3 now. I never went to 4. I got bored with 4. So I went from 3 to 5. I want 5. And then 5 was there. And I thought, I am going to stop when I hit 5. Now I want 10. So I don't know where the end is. I can't see an end.
Well, those are the natures of goals, right? You get to, and it, because what you're saying, I think some people, if they don't have a trader mindset, or they're not in kind of real estate and investing, they'll look at this and go, sheer greed, blah, 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 blah. But what I think it is you're looking for the experience, right? You want to know what the feeling is.
Yeah.
It's not a case of, I want £1 million to spend it on a Lamborghini and shove it up my nose, or whatever, people do these days, right? It's a case of, what does it feel like? What does £1 million look like in my bank account?
Yeah.
You cross that, and then you keep going.
Do you know what a kettle is?
A kettle? Yeah.
Kettle. Not to make a cup of tea kettle.
No.
I'm Polish. I need an explanation.
Someone said to me the other day, what kettle have you got, mate? To me. And I'm like, the wife makes the tea. I don't know. No. Watch. What watch have you got? What watch have you? So apparently a decent color. There's my watch. I don't know if it doesn't come up, does it? There's my watch. I don't even have a watch. Well, I don't want to spend 20 grand on a watch. What for? I drive an 8-year-old car that's done 140,000 miles. I could go out and buy any car I want, but it's not. It doesn't motivate me, and it doesn't impress me, and there's no value in those assets to me. You've hit the nail on the head, Jay. It's about I want to experience what it feels like, and then when I've got it, I'm like, right, okay, what now? And
what now?
10 million in the bank is the what now. And I want to give. I'm 50 next year, so I want to 51, 52. I want that 10 million in the bank, which will have taken me 5 years. Is it 5 years? 2021. Yeah, it'll take 5 years. If I can hit 10 million in 5 to 6 years, the plan is to get out while I've still got some form of mental health, and while I've still got some form of physical health. And I'm not joking when I say this, or before my luck runs out. Because there will, I've been lucky. I genuinely believe I've been lucky. I've been lucky with the market. I've been lucky in the time. the timing that I came into the market. A lot of people say it's not luck, it's the skill set that I've got, but there is a lot of luck involved. There is some luck, and
but you create your own luck, right? I mean, it's in the doing. Like the more you do, the more you see, the more you're able to kind of like dip out of things that might be unlucky by following. We talk about this all the time, and it must frustrate everybody that listens to us, right? But it's how do you know it's a deal? How do you stack the deal? Well, we look at it with our eyeballs and we say that deal stacks, that deal doesn't.
Yeah.
And you can only really grow that pair of eyes or get that sixth sense by looking and by doing, right? Because yeah, I mean, 20 years I've been looking at deals. I've been valuing deals when I was at Auction House London, when I managed the trust, doing all those things. You have no choice but to get a gut feeling about something. I can look at the numbers and just say it doesn't work, and someone says why. It's like, well, you run your numbers and you'll come back to me and it doesn't work, and it doesn't. And you can't put your finger on it all the time. I mean, sometimes it's glaringly obvious why it doesn't work, but there is an element of that, right? But that's only because you've been doing it.
Yeah.
And you pick it up quickly especially if you're doing volume like you are, you pick it up quickly, or you don't. It doesn't take you long to fail.
And there are failures. People. How do you recover from making a loss? Financially, you just do. You reversed your capital pot. Your capital pot's taken a dent. The hardest part, when you do get it wrong, is your mentality, because it knocks your confidence, and that is the biggest thing that I've had to learn and deal with. You buy something and you pay 100 for it, and you're confident it's going to do 125 at auction, and it sells for 80, and you're like, well, what went wrong? How? Now that could have just been bad luck on the day. It could have been a bad auctioneer on the day. It may not have been marketed correctly or properly. A lot of the time it's down to something that I've missed on purchase. Mine shaft in the front garden, because I'm buying without searches. You get the searches as a mine shaft. The hardest part of failing and losing is the mental anguish, and it knocks your confidence. It takes you back a step or two. Then you get offered the next deal, and you bid too low for it. You bid too cautiously. You're overcautious.
You go into protection mode. Yeah.
Protection mode. They can't get it agreed because the seller's not that stupid or daft to take an offer at that level, or they've got a better buyer that will pay more. You miss a few deals. So losing that 20 grand on that deal then actually causes greater losses of potential profit from the next 3 deals that you don't buy. So that is the fastest changing mindset that I had to learn and adapt. Once you've lost, forget the loss and buy more. Make those losses back on the next deals. Don't lose another deal because you've lost on the last one. It's the worst thing you can do. The loss of opportunity on the next deal is always bigger than the actual physical loss on the last deal.
It's so true. I mean, for those who are coming to the Portugal Mastermind, we have a couple of stories that we will be sharing. Like, we're not volume traders. We do smaller, but hopefully, by and large, bigger returns for less work. If we're lucky, right?
You told me, Jay, that you gave me a figure. I don't know when it was, early this year. If it's wrong, it's wrong. But you'd bought 5 properties in one period of time and made the same amount of money as I'd made in buying 152 properties or something like that. So I wish I was you. I would rather buy 5 and make the same amount of money as buying 152. It's a lot less admin, but your skill set is far more detailed and analytical. I've seen some of the stuff you do, and I look at it and I scratch my head and wake up in the morning, scratch it a bit more and go, nah, not for me, that. Nah. Too complicated.
But it's Well, we've had some not just near misses. Like we've taken a bath on a couple of things. It's always our own capital. Like if a deal's looking south, if we've got an investor, we get the investor out. Make sure everyone's clean. If we take the bath, it's us personally. Like I think it's a big part of being a trader where you have to be able to stomach the losses. What you've said tonight is absolutely on the money. Like you have to be able to take a punch and just get up.
Yeah.
Get your guard back up and keep punching, right? One of the people that are coming to the retreat specifically said to me, I don't want to hear about your lovey-dovey, amazing 400 grand profit story, blah, blah. He goes, I want to hear about when you shat the bed. I want to hear when it went really, really badly. I want to hear about how it almost ruined you and you came back, you know, from near disaster and things like that. And I said, well, you're fortunate. We haven't had anything quite so bad, but we've had a couple where I don't know. I mean, we would have missed out on a couple of opportunities because we just didn't look. There was a month or two where we were just sitting there going, how are we going to do this? And it wasn't the first time we've lost out on a deal or we've had to kind of just duck out and lose a deposit or something just goes wrong. But it was the first heavy punch. It was a Mike Tyson in the 1990s, a real lick. You know, we felt that one for a couple of months. But I think that's a big part of this. A lot of people don't realize that, it's a fantastic way to be in property. You don't have the relationship that you have with, like most people have with property. You're not a buy-to-let landlord. You don't have a responsibility. And it is, you know, it's a big responsibility to your tenants, to your bank, to the insurance company, to all of these people. Trading is, you know, if you've got commitment issues, trading is perfect, right? I don't want to be holding on to a property for more than 3 months. I get itchy. I want to go for a walk somewhere. So, but you know, whilst myself and Piotr on the retreat aren't doing any talks, like yourself, Safe, we'll have you, Safe, Scott, we'll have Guilherme. These are all really cool people. The talks are going to be amazing. But we're going to be kind of spearheading the mastermind sessions in the afternoon to kind of like really pull the value out, make sure that people are engaged, make sure that they're kind of getting those parts of their business unblocked so they can do either what we do, what Safe does, what you do, or they kind of pull something out of thin air and like, this is how I'm going to do it. And there's ways to make money, especially with trading, you know? So
definitely, because you don't, and I'm sure this will come out in the retreat. You know, there's a lot of, there's a phenomenal, those names you've mentioned. There's the amount of knowledge and experience in those 4-5 names is mind blowing. I will learn. I know I will learn stuff on that retreat from those other people. One of the biggest attitudes towards it that I take is never ever lose a deal. Okay, so people say, I haven't got any money, or I've run out of money, or I can't raise the finance. It does not matter. You do not need any money. And I'm not talking about no money down deals and all these creative strategies. They're for other people. I'm talking traders now. You want to be a trader. You want to buy a property to trade. You're not talking about converting, adding value, rental, HMO. Buy to sell. And you haven't got any money. How can I trade without money? Easy. JV with a trader who has got the money. That's simple. So a lot of the properties now that are brought to me are from people who I have shown how to trade, taught how to trade, shown them the way, if you like, where to find these deals, how to source these deals. And they're coming up with these deals. They're offering them to, what do you think of this, Oliver? Is this a deal? Yes, this is a deal. This will make you money. This will make you 25 grand at auction, for example. Right, okay. How do I buy it? I haven't got the money. The seller wants to complete in 5 working days. That's fine. I will put the money up. I will JV it. I will deal with the asset management in the middle, and I will deal with the sale, and I'll split the profit with that person. And all of a sudden, they've got a chunk of capital now. They've got a chunk of working capital. They do 3, 4, 5, 6 of those, and they've now got enough capital to buy a trade themselves. And they've also learned how to do it. So how do I buy it? There's lots of ways to make money.
Yeah, that's crazy because it's such a simple thing, but being able to do that is actually it's what the olden days it used to be like an apprenticeship, right? You're basically taking someone under the wing. I think they call it earn as you learn nowadays. They
Earn
call
and
it other
learn.
things.
That's
Earn and
it.
learn.
Yeah.
But that's I hadn't thought that even you were going in that kind of direction, but it makes sense, right? Because
Never lose
I mean,
a deal.
you don't want to lose a deal, but also I don't want to give too much away because what we haven't spoken about is how you actually get your deals. Now, I'm certain there's going to be a question in the chat. So what I'll do is I'll ask you the questions. We'll go through them.
Yeah.
If there's a couple that kind of repeat or sound too similar, I'll let you know and we'll skip on to the next one. But we've got Oscar. So Oscar looks like he was with us from pretty much the beginning. When you mentioned that first property you bought with the subsidence and the Japanese knotweed. His question is, how did you add value to that house?
Do you want me to be honest and genuinely tell you? The knotweed disappeared in a garden makeover. Lawnmower, what can I say? And a little bit of a bonfire. I'm not condoning it. I'm not recommending it. I'm just being honest and saying what happened. I'm not saying I did it. Just disappeared. The property was a probate, so someone had passed away. The house was fully furnished with old people's belongings, all the old furniture stuff. So it cleared all that out, and it sounds crazy, but I then went to it was a Dunelm Mill and an Argos, and I bought enough stuff to furnish the kitchen, toaster, kettle, tea towels, etc., to furnish the kitchen and to dress the bathroom. So some fresh towels in there, put all new light bulbs in, got the electric back up and running. The electric was turned off. Took photo, air fresheners, made the place look brighter, smell nicer, made it look as though it was ready to rent, basically. And advertised it as a ready-to-rent property. So you're aiming for a different market. There's not many one-bed properties on the rental market, especially bungalows. I spoke to 2 agents locally, letting agents, who gave me figures for rental valuation. And in the marketing brochures, one-bed mid-terrace bungalow, ready-to-let condition. This is the expected rental value, yield, return, and it's sold to the investment market at auction. The guy that actually bought it, I'm still in contact with 4 years later. He's got a portfolio now of 40, 50 properties, all bought at auction. Very happy guy, and it set him up. It set him on a path as a portfolio landlord now. So that's how you add value to a one bed. I know people out there, traders, who will split a 1-bedroom property into 2. They'll, especially if it's got 2 windows in the bedroom, they'll put a stud wall up. They'll put a separate door in. They'll get a floor plan done. Those bedrooms might be small. They might be below minimum standards for a HMO, for example. But they will split a bigger bedroom into 2. It's not unusual, but one beds typically are hard to sell. So you make your profit on your purchase, and that's something that anyone going into trading should always remember. It's not necessarily about adding value. I don't generally add any value at all. I clean and clear. I make them smell better. I make them look better. I make them comfortable for someone to walk around on a viewing. Some of the places that I buy are horrifically poor condition, dangerous to even walk around, cluttered, hoarded, passed away, pets, you name it. Some horror stories. Some of these will come out in the retreat, but for me, it's not about adding value. I don't add value. I buy at a price that I can make a profit by selling at auction. I just make them as clean and clear and as tidy as possible.
Wow, excellent. Our next question is from Danny Tuckwood, who's joining us from LinkedIn. What would you suggest for getting started if you haven't got a background in the auction business?
Good question. So I think the primary thing there really is to concentrate on the area that you live in. It's pointless looking at, in my opinion, and it's only my opinion, but why would you go into any area outside of your comfort zone? Stick to the area that you live in. You'll be much more familiar with the good streets, the bad streets, the better areas. We all know that you can buy a house on a street, and you've used online comparables, and we put that property to auction and it fails, it doesn't sell, or it sells for a loss, and it's only afterwards you realize you bought on the wrong side of that street. For whatever reason, people want houses on the other side of the street. Maybe that's because they've got a south-facing garden on that side of the street, you're on the opposite side, or there's a school at the bottom of the road, so it's the bottom of the road that people want, not the end of the road. So stick to your local market. Look for properties that appear to be neglected, overgrown front gardens, driveways with weeds going through them. Look for stuff like that. They're the opportunities that you want to be looking for. Do some research. What is that house worth in good condition? That's very easy to do on Rightmove. Put a postcode in, Zoopla, Rightmove. You'll see what's up for sale locally on that street, and then you just got to work back from there. How much work is needed? What's the cost of that work going to be? What sort of profit margin would a buyer want in there? And then you offer, depending on what profit you want as a trader, below that level. You don't need money to trade. There will always be people that will JV. You can sell. I don't want to give away too much without going into the retreat, but you can deal source. You can package deals up. You can get properties agreed with the vendor, and then find a buyer for it and charge a fee. You don't need to actually buy them. It's all about getting your hands dirty, getting your face into properties, get round people's houses, get some viewings done, speak to agents, do some leaflets, put some leaflets out there, make a nuisance of yourself. You've got to have conversations with people, and you've got to start viewing properties. And you don't need money to do that. You just need motivation and feet on the ground, and that's it. That's all you need to start. Motivation and movement. Just got to get out there.
Brilliant. We've got Ericeira and saying hello. He's enjoying the chat. Same with Ravi. The next question is I guess that's kind of roughly the same question, but this is Tom. Oliver's top 3 tips for getting into trading is kind of roughly what you've done there. Tom has asked another question. Tom is popular this evening. How many deals do you look at a month, would you say? And what is your buy rate? So what's your conversion?
Good question. That I like it. If it depends on where the lead has come from. So if it is stock that I'm buying from auction to trade in another auction, the conversion is really very low because there's lots of other people trying to buy that property in the same auction. So we've got a 3-day auction coming up this week with Allsops. There's 500-600 lots in that auction, for example. The reason I've totally ignored everyone today is because from 5 o'clock this morning until 6 o'clock this evening, and these are the hours that you've got to put in, I've priced around 130 properties in Allsops auction today, and I drop everything and everyone. I have to focus on that. I've got to get that due diligence out. Out of those 130 properties, if I buy 3, I'll be happy with that conversion. So auction, if you can buy 5% of auction, that's better than expected. Conversion for me as a trader at auction is very low. If you're talking about builders or tradesmen, tradeswomen who are working, they've been asked to do a quote. So Joe Bloggs has asked them to do a quote. We've inherited a house and we're looking to renovate and refurbish this house. Joe Bloggs goes around there to quote for refurbishing the house, and the seller, the owner, the property owner, they're horrified at the cost of refurbishment. They think they can put a kitchen in for 1,500 quid and a bathroom for 1,000 quid. They think they can renovate and refurbish this 2-bed terrace for 5 or 6 grand. Okay, this homes under the hammer type of stuff from 10 years ago, before COVID. People still have these figures in their mind, and they're like, no, it's going to cost you 30 grand, and that's without a contingency. Oh, right, okay, we're not interested, we'll sell it. Joe Bloggs, I know a guy that might buy this. And that might be how I get introduced. Those one-to-one introductions where you've got a motivated seller, I probably buy 1 in every 2 of those. I've probably got a 50% conversion, because I'll go meet that seller. I'm a nice-ish guy. I can communicate. A little bit of a social chameleon. I can dress myself up or down to the audience or crowd in front of me. You know, and I will give them a good price. I will give them a strong cash price, no chain, no survey. So it's very appealing for them. If you're talking about property sources whose main role is to go out, find a motivated seller or find a distressed property and agree a price, they come to me with a packaged deal. They've done all the due diligence. I rip it up and throw it in the bin because it's all, pardon the French, but it's all bollocks what they invariably come up with. It's to suit the figure. They'll dress that package up to suit the figure that the seller has said that they want for the house.
Yeah.
They will make everything else fit around that. I'll look at it and say, well, what can I get for that at auction? I'll offer X amount for it because I want to make a margin out of it and I've got to pay the sourcer. I might buy 1 in 5 of those, for example, which is a good conversion. It's a very, absolutely. It's a good conversion. Yeah. I'm very happy to put the time and effort into those. Another source is other traders. So I'm a little bit unique in that I buy quite a lot off other traders. I don't advertise. I've got no website. I've got no business card. I only went onto social media just over a year ago. I didn't even have Facebook or Instagram just over a year ago. People always came to me with deals, and I sort of had a slot in the middle, if you like. I'd buy stuff that no one else would buy, or the margin was too tight. Because I'm buying with my own money, I'm not having a survey. I haven't got any of those added costs. I've got no staff. I've got no advertising. So traders will come to me with stuff where the margin is too slim for them to justify buying it with their cost of acquisition. So where trade come to me with a deal, I probably buy 1 in 3.
Okay. Yeah.
Because they've already worked the seller. They've already worked the seller down to their bottom line. They've normally already got this property under contract. A sale is normally already agreed. If they can't get that sale, that offer price any lower, the seller won't take any less. It's at that point that they go through their underwriting team, who will look at it and say, this is not financially viable for us to buy it. They will get in touch with me and they will say, Oliver, this is what we've got this agreed at. Contract completion is Friday this week, 4 days away. Do you want it, yes or no? And we want X amount on top. So I'll buy 1 in 3 of those. They're normally already at a good price.
And do you buy them in your area, just your parts that you're familiar with, or you kind of have like a distance you work with?
There's a saying, Piot, beggars can't be choosers. And I'm begging and I ain't choosing. I'll buy it all anywhere. I will take anything. A lot of people won't buy in Scotland, for example. You've got to have a Scottish solicitor. The Scottish law is very different. It's a very tough environment if you're not Scottish or you haven't got contacts in Scotland. So it's a very tough market. I was in Scotland last week sorting out a couple of properties that I've bought. I will buy Northern Ireland. I don't know any English-based, mainland-based traders who buy in Northern Ireland. I've never met one yet. I will buy I'm buying at a bigger discount. I want typically 50% of open market value. I will pay 50p in a pound. And I will look to make a 10 to 15% margin on that at auction. So whoever buys it at auction is still buying with a big discount. I'll buy non-standard construction. I'll buy unregistered title. I'll buy unconfirmed occupancy, tenanted where there's no paperwork, there's no evidence of the tenancy, family disputes, neighbour disputes, structural, doesn't bother me. I'll buy it all. It's all down to price. It's not even down to price. It's down to what can I get for it at auction.
Yeah.
It's just a unit. It's not a property with a problem. It's a unit. There is a value to that unit in the marketplace. So what will someone pay for this at auction? And then I just offer a little bit less to make a butty on it and just keep myself fed.
I think that you answered quite a lot of questions that we have here. And
we've got Guy Charrison, who you may know, he was former Narvin president. He was, he says, Oliver, you're very disciplined. I agree. There is something about having your own destiny. So it's good to have Guy Charrison on the call.
Thanks, Guy. We did meet once, Guy, by the way. I if I remember correctly, and I might be wrong, but I'm fairly sure you conducted the auctioneer training course that I was on.
He did, yeah, he would have done, absolutely, yeah.
With a Welsh guy, forget his name.
Not the Edward Miller guy.
Welsh auctioneer guy. Can't remember his name.
Yeah, I can't remember the guy's name either. But we've gone through, just touching a couple of these. So Diana, Danny, Dr. S. Adam, we've kind of gone through all of those in the chat. So if you've missed those sections of the talk, this video is going to stay on the YouTube channel. So whilst you're live, you can watch this back tomorrow and you'll be able to see what we've said there. Ravi, you've mentioned finance here, but Oliver's already confirmed that he does this with his own pot. So if you want to learn more about the financing side, the bridging, etc., we have Scott Marshall, who founded Roma Finance, previously Together Money for 20 plus years. If you want to learn about the financing from the bridging, that side of things, you need to get yourself to the retreat. And Piotr, you put a comment up a session.
This question from Andri. What are your thoughts on getting to that 10 million mark? Is it more deals per year or bigger deals?
Hi, Andre. That's a name and a person I know very well. Hope you're well. Both. Simple as that. In an ideal world, it would be bigger deals. My tired brain and body are now saying be more selective on what I buy. Go for the lower hanging fruit or the bigger margins. Do less volume, but higher profit, higher margin. But I can't do it. If someone offered up a 50, 60 grand deal tomorrow and there was a 3 to 5 grand margin in it, net margin, I'll buy it. Even though there's the same amount of work involved in that as there is for one that might return 25 grand. The same amount of work is there, slightly different risk level, but the same amount of work for me, same amount of paperwork, same amount of attending, photographing, cleaning, clearing. But I'm not there yet to be that selective. So at the moment, I would buy both. I'll buy more and I'll buy bigger to get to that 10 million faster. Take more risk. Simple.
It's a bloody good answer, Ollie. I'll have both, please, with the side of something extra.
Yeah.
I think we have question before we wrap up. What do you think? The last question, Arjun. Basra.
I think, Arjun, you're going to find the answer is in pretty much this whole talk. Oliver's mentioned it's price and motivation and the risk that you take with that. The only red flags are what are your red flags? Like, do you have red flags?
Yeah, it's a good question that. So the green flags is price, it's sellers' motivation. Why are they selling? And at what price point? What do they want for it compared to what I can get for it? So they're the only things really that are good indicators. Sellers' motivation and their price point. Red flags. Red flags. There's an interesting ad. I think it's called an add-on that you can get for Rightmove, a bolt-on, an add-on or something that gives you the price history of a property, the marketed price history of a property that's been up for sale on Rightmove. And you'd be amazed how many properties have been on Rightmove. Everybody expects a price reduction. And if that doesn't work, another one. If that doesn't work, another one. And every now and again, you come across a property that you've been asked to offer on, where the property has been reduced in price, then reduced in price, and then it's gone up in price. And the last price movement on Rightmove is a price above the initial marketing figure. So a property's been on the market for 100 grand, dropped to 95, dropped to 90, and now it's up for sale for 120 grand. And that is a red flag. And the reason that people have done that is that they've gone to trade before they've come to me. So they've gone to another trader, and that trader said, look, your house has been on 100, 95, now it's 90. So I'm going to offer you 25% below 90. And they think, so all you're doing is working your figure off the price it's currently on the market for. So they take it off the market, change agents maybe, then put it on 120, and then go to another trader. And that trader might not do the correct due diligence, or they might be a bit naive, or they might be a saucer, and they go, oh, it's on at 120, we'll offer you 25% less. I don't know what that is, but let's say it's 98 grand or whatever. And all of a sudden, someone thinks they've got a deal because they've got 20 grand knocked off this property. So that's a red flag for me. Another red flag is when somebody won't give access to the property to anybody under any circumstances. So I'll buy without a survey. I will buy without viewing a property. I don't have a problem with that. But there are certain properties in certain areas or certain price ranges or certain situations where I might say to the seller, look, I don't want to look at it. I've no interest in looking at it, but I want to employ a viewer. And if you don't know what a viewer is, Google it. I'm sure you guys know what a viewer is. But anybody that doesn't know a viewer, just Google viewer. I want to get a viewer to go and inspect the property for me. I call them pre-completion inspections. And sometimes you just get a gut feeling that the photographs you've been sent by the seller aren't necessarily showing its current condition. You can look on Google Street View and you'll find some differences there possibly. So you get a view, but do a pre-completion inspection, and the seller point blank refuses access. That is a major red flag. It is not normal for a seller to refuse access for somebody to look at a property. That's a big red flag. Tenanted properties, I'll buy tenanted without any access, and I get great pleasure in getting vacant possession on those properties. It takes time, it takes skill, it takes money. I put a post on Instagram last week that got 100 and something likes in a few days. It was a property that I bought with a problem tenant, and I posted the bailiff's warrant, and we got vacant possession of the property. That will be a good story for the retreat of risk and asset management, risk versus reward. Massive risk, but massive upside, massive reward if I could get this property tenanted. We'll talk about that more another time. But going back to the question, red flags: seller not giving access at all, and tenanted properties where the landlord is overly keen on promoting how nice the tenant is. They've got a great relationship with the tenant. They've never missed the rent. They don't really want to sell it. And I must buy it, and I must promise to keep the tenant in. That is a big red flag, because that tenant usually ends up being either their ex-wife or ex-husband or son or daughter, or something like that. and the relationship has soured, and the owner now wants to get rid of the problem property that they've got. So tenanted stuff, typically red flags. Seller that doesn't give access, big red flag. And there's certain areas of the world, although it's very difficult now to narrow these down and pinpoint them, where you get what are called phantom tenancies. So you've got someone who's got a property in very poor condition, typically, and they create a tenancy agreement and pretend that it's tenanted. You've got to watch out for those as a trader. There's a lot of people will use dirty tricks. So phantom tenancies is another one. And the easiest way of working out whether someone actually does live there or not, speak to the neighbours. Go and knock on the door of the neighbours. You don't need to even get in the house. Speak to the neighbours. Hi, my name's Oliver. Looking at buying next door. What's the tenant like? What? What's the tenant like? What tenant? It's been empty 10 years. When the floors collapsed after it was in a fire.
Yeah. Right. Thank you. Yeah.
Just speak to the neighbours.
One of the red flags that we're seeing at the moment, especially for volume traders at the moment, is assuming the vendor is still alive, where the vendor doesn't want to meet you, right? That's a big red flag, because there's a lot of
property fraud,
people assuming identities and things like that. So that's one to look out for. But excellent. Look, before we wrap up, I think Diana's asked a question. Diana, a lot of this is going to be on the retreat. So whilst Oliver has talked about how he structures his day and how we can review 130 properties quickly, the actual real mechanics of that is something that's going to be discussed in a live and private environment on the retreat. Talking of the retreat, Piotr, do we have anything we want to say, especially about the retreat?
We have a lot of things to say about the retreat. It's coming up quickly. So obviously we're running this the 5th to 11th of October. And we've got a couple of spaces left at this retreat. And it is structured in a way that's going to deliver a full life cycle of a deal, from finding properties direct to vendors to structuring the deals in all different ways and monetizing those leads, then funding them and also flipping them. So basically we have several guests coming to talk about each of those parts. And the way we've got the retreat structured is each morning is each guest speaker and us delivering content. But then after lunch, in the afternoon, it's a mastermind element where every participant will share what their roadblocks are in the given subject, and we're working it out between all of us how this is gonna work for them and how they can unlock things and do more deals. Basically, we ran those retreats before. There are phenomenal places where people actually do deals. We don't run it just so that we do nice things in a nice sunny environment, although that's a nice bonus, but we do it just so we do more deals and everyone else around us do more deals. And having people like Oliver, Safe, Scott Marshall, Gillian Black, us, we all bring different things to the table, and that retreat is a place where basically you will end up doing more deals. That's a promise, guaranteed.
So I've been telling people this is probably an unrepeatable event. I don't know. I mean, I'm friendly with a lot of people. We know a lot of traders. We know how to structure these things. I don't know if we're going to be able to kidnap Oliver out of the country, bearing in mind he's buying X point something properties a day or whatever it is, right? If I can kidnap him for 3 or 4 days again, I don't know if that's possible. Getting Safe out is no easy task. Scott Marshall has given us 3 different dates and times that he's able to come, and maybe he'll stay longer, maybe he won't. We've got a couple of other people. Guilherme is only going to be with us for about 48 hours. These are not easy people to get to come and do a dedicated couple of days sessions to really kind of deliver this value. So there's that. The other thing is Piotr's highlighted the link below, retreat.hammeredauctions.co.uk. If you click through to that, basically what you'll do is you'll be booking a call with me to have a chat about what the retreat includes, the outcomes that you can expect, and all that kind of stuff, and can kind of answer some of your questions that we may have missed here this evening. So if this is something that you want to do, you know, as long as you're not getting married during that week or going to a funeral during that week, everything else is movable to make sure that you do not miss out on this opportunity. The last one we did was 3 years ago, and we're only doing this one because we got bullied by 4 people who were the first 4 people to register for the retreat. We're only doing this because we're pushed. But while we're being pushed, we may as well do it really fucking well. And that's what we do. We apply ourselves in every way we can. This is going to be absolutely amazing. So there is no putting off for tomorrow what can be done today. You've heard what Oliver's daily schedule looks like. Everything collapses if he doesn't get it done today. Deals get missed, which is a cardinal sin.
Yeah.
So click on the link, check it out. If you have any questions, fill out the form, have a chat with me in the next couple of days. And if it's definitely not for you, it's definitely not for you, but at least you've had a look and you've tried to make it work.
And it's worthwhile just having a chat with Jay. So
yeah, there's that.
Amazing. Oliver, thanks so much for joining us today.
You're welcome.
This hour and 15 minutes of your time this evening is very valuable. It probably cost you like £70,000.
I do it for the love.
Yes.
Amazing. Well, and yeah, we're looking forward to the retreat. I think we're going to learn as much as everyone else that's going to be a participant on that retreat. And between all of us, I think there will be some really great deals happening. So looking forward to it. Thanks so much, and enjoy your hot tub.
See you soon, guys.
Cheers, everyone.
Thank you.